Do you think you could enjoy having a gorgeous, sci-fi, zombie-esque action shooter to sink your teeth into? Good. Let's talk about Synced. Synced is an epic, futuristic, free-to-play, co-op shooter in a beautiful and terrifying world where the nanite technology that once promised a great future for humanity has instead begun the process of bringing about our end. Synced takes place in the aftermath of a technological cataclysm known as the Collapse, where our nanite technology began attacking us by raising the dead to create what ultimately ends up feeling like an intense AAA sci-fi zombie shooter with solid gunplay and stunning visuals. Ground zero for this fight for humanity's survival takes place in a zone known as the Meridian. Only the best of the best dare to enter this zone, and that's where you come in. You are what is referred to as a runner, one of the few talented enough and crazy enough to come here to fight for the future of the world. All in all, the story is actually a compelling one, and told well through a combination of cinematic cutscenes, voice-acted dialogue, and recordings you find scattered throughout the world. You start off as a runner who goes by the name Deadcut, a likable card shark and hustler who's made a career out of gambling and guns. Ironically for Deadcut, the collapse of civilization saved his life, as it swept away all of his debts and gave him a chance to start over. And of course, saving the world is nice, but the rumored fortunes that await those strong enough and brave enough to obtain them also make for a great motivator. Eventually, you'll fight your way to Haven, which will act as your base camp going forward. Haven is the home to this resistance and your hub of operations. The first thing you can do here is choose which type of content you want to participate in. The game features two primary gameplay loops. You've got your multiplayer PvE campaign that you can play through either solo or with other players, and then you've got PvP. This game is a unique blend of futuristic sci-fi and zombie horror, so shout out to this video's sponsor, Level Infinite and Next Studios, for making this video possible. Now, regardless of which game mode you choose, you'll be playing as one of the three starting runners. There are more runners available to unlock and earn as you play the game. Each runner has one unique skill and two unique passives attached to them. Deadcut can throw grenades that split and bounce, leaving a deadly fire in their wake. He's also got a couple of perks that cause his weapons to inflict fire damage on his enemies. Glory can throw a poisonous smoke bomb that blinds enemy runners. She's also got perks that highlight enemy runners in PvP and increase weak point damage in PvE. We'll talk about weak points in a moment because they're a huge part of the PvE experience. The third and final starting runner is Dr. Stone, who came to the Meridian looking for a cure. If you fancy the idea of being a support character, this is your best bet, as he's got an area of effect heal that can heal all nearby allies. He's also got some great perks that let him use his medkits faster and revive teammates faster. Two things you'll have to do a lot in PvE content. The two gameplay modes are Dead Sector and Nerva. Dead Sector runs are the PvE content, and how the story is fed to you while you play through the game solo or in a group. Nerva runs are the PvP runs, where you can head into battle against other players, solo or in a group. If you choose to jump into Sector runs, you'll be dropped into an area to look for data about the location of a Tyrant Nano. Tyrant Nanos are the bosses of Synced. These are the final battles for each run. They're usually beefy, fast enemies with weak points to look for and mechanics to figure out. But before you can find them, you'll have to figure out where they are by collecting that data we mentioned. In order to find all the data, you'll have to head from objective to objective, clearing enemies and getting stronger along the way. Occasionally, you'll kill enemies that you can sync with. These enemies will become your companions that fight by your side when you call on them. Alternatively, you can simply leave them attached to your arm and inherit some cool abilities and buffs for your character instead. One of the many build customizations you get to make in Synced is choosing which companion you summon when you sync with one of these nanos. Right now, there are 4 different companion types to choose from, the first of which is the Crusher, which is a large Hulk-like companion that leaps into combat and beats down your enemies. When the nano isn't summoned, you gain increased movement and melee attack speed. One cool thing every companion does is give you a unique mobility ability, so the Crusher gives you a double jump that sends your character flying. I can't explain how satisfying this ability is. The Suppressor companion gives you faster ADS, or aim down sights, and reduced crosshair spread while on your arm, or unsummoned. When summoned, it patrols the area and shoots long-range shock blast projectiles at enemies. And for mobility, it allows you to turn yourself into a human rocket to close in on your enemies, or run from them. Next, you've got the Guardian companion. While worn on your arm, it forms a shield in front of you while aiming. When deployed, it forms a shield at the targeted position to protect you from enemy gunfire. As for mobility, it allows you to ride your shield shield like a surfboard, which is always nice. And as for the fourth and final companion, you have the Seer. This seems to be more of a PvP focused nano, as it aids you in the detection of enemy runners while worn on your arm. When summoned, it deploys decoys and fires a laser beam at your enemies. As for mobility, it gives you a couple of booster jets that allow you to fly a short distance. With your nano chosen and synced up, you can continue your run, heading from objective to objective, collecting that all-important data that will eventually lead you to your next boss. All along the way, you're collecting several different types of resources and currencies that you can use to modify and upgrade your guns and your runner. One currency you collect along the way is spent at these stations that let you choose between two random perks. This randomness will force you to think on the fly and adapt your strategy based on the cards that are dealt to you. Or you can ignore the random nature of this and instead focus your investment on another machine that lets you simply upgrade the quality of the gear and the armor that you have equipped. Upgrading them will take them from white to blue to purple and finally to gold. Eventually, you'll arrive at the boss. In my experience, these boss fights have been well designed. Now, remember earlier when I mentioned weak points. Not only do the enemies you fought to get to this point have weak points, but also the bosses have weak points. These are usually indicated by a spot that is bright or glowing on the enemy. Generally speaking, aiming at this spot is going to be your best bet for success, whether it's a boss or a random enemy. That's where the similarity between the two ends. Bosses are going to have way more HP, way more mobility, and mechanics that you'll need to account for. This boss, located deep down in the sewers beneath the meridian, threw these toxic sacs around the room that would release gases into the air and hurt you. You had to make sure to eliminate these as soon as he threw them out to minimize the amount of damage you took from them. This boss requires you to dodge incoming flamethrowers and ultimately follow it down to the next floor before the floor you're on gets engulfed in flames. Each boss comes with its own set of challenges, and depending on how geared out you are, your victory might come easily or not at all. Once you've defeated the boss, you'll get dropped back off at Haven. Each time you complete one of these runs, along with the currency and materials you earned, you'll also unlock some more of the fantastic story and lore. The vibrant setting and fascinating sci-fi lore are among my favorite parts of the game. Now that you're here, you've got a variety of things that you can do before heading out on your next run. You can head over to Eli to customize your weapons, add a laser dot, a silencer, a larger clip, or a larger magazine, you name it. You can go beyond functional customization and into cosmetic customization by equipping skins that you can unlock or purchase, or by applying weapon decals. You can also choose to customize your sidearm in the same way. Then you've got a melee weapon, which can be anything from a bat to a sword to a sledgehammer. The choice is yours. You can head over to Leah to see what nanos, mods, or companion mods you've unlocked so far. Sometimes you'll see that some of the data you found will reward you with currencies once you've unlocked enough of them. You can get more of that sweet currency by opening her jobs tab and claiming any rewards that you have available for jobs you've completed. But what can you do with the currency that you've earned? You can head over to Mel, and this is where you'll get into the monetization of the game as well. So you've got the purple currency, which you can earn, and you've got the gold currency, which you must purchase. You'll notice there are two runners here on this page that you can either earn with in-game currency or unlock by purchasing the gold currency. If you wish there were more ways to earn more currency, you're in luck. That's what this next tab is for, the event center. You can come in here and claim currency and material rewards for participating in just about any activity you can think of. Finally, you've got the battle pass that features some free items amongst a plethora of paid track items, including currencies, crafting materials, gun skins, and so on. And for those competitive players out there, you can swing by this terminal here to check out the leaderboards to see where you stand. Gacha enthusiasts will be excited to hear that the game also features a gacha system for unlocking new guns, and fortunately for you free-to-play players out there, you can participate in this system without spending any real money, as the currency to pull is both earnable and purchasable. You can break down items and convert those materials into the currency used to pull for new weapons, or you can simply buy it in the cash shop. Now, the game does have PvP, so you're probably wondering if the game ends up being pay to win in PvP, since you can pay real money to pull better weapons in the gacha system. Fortunately, the answer is no. They have equalized PvP so that it is balanced. What this means is, if you have a standard version of a weapon, they both perform the same in PvP to keep things as fair as possible, which brings us to the Nerva runs. This is the PvP activity in Synced. This will allow you to match up with other players in squads of 3, working like a sort of battle royale. You run around killing PvE monsters and looting chests and upgrading your loadout while looking for enemy players to engage. The team or player that survives to the end wins it all. If you've enjoyed battle royale games before, definitely give this PvP a go, it's quite fun. So in summary, Synced looks like it's going to be a nice addition to the free-to-play looter shooter genre. Whether you prefer to play alone or with other players, the game has you covered. Combat feels good, and it's got multiple runners for you to choose from and unlock to help keep the gameplay fresh and fun. I love the game's use of mobility abilities. Leaping into battle like the Hulk is never going to get old. The inclusion of finishing moves is also something that I'll never not enjoy. There's just something so satisfying about a good animation to finish off the battle. The game's music and visuals are top notch. It's just a beautiful game. Unreal Engine is really doing its thing here, and it helps keep you immersed in the world that they've created for you. And being a complete nerd for all things sci-fi, I loved the world building and the story of the game. In real life, right now, scientists around the world are working on ways to create and train nanobots that they can inject into the human body to seek out and destroy cancer. The potential boons for the human species once this technology is mastered is nearly limitless, and that's just one application. The sci-fi story being told in this game isn't so far from reality as it might seem, making it all the more enjoyable for me. The game is free to play and is available on Steam right now. I'd say if you're a PvE main, then definitely check it out for the story if nothing else. If you're a PvP main, hop in and give the PvP a go. Since the PvP mode is equalized, you don't have to worry about going in and getting destroyed against veterans who have farmed out tons of gear. Be sure to use my link in the description down below to download the game right now and play it for free. Let me know what you think of it. Thanks so much for listening to this nerd rant about a new game. I hope you learned enough about it to help you decide if it's something you want to try or not. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a comment and letting me know, or just like and subscribe for more gaming content. If you're not sure what to do next, consider watching one of these videos that are popping up on screen right now.